while it's an increasingly popular thing to give up US citizenship, I think that a lot of people don't give their timelines. And additionally, a lot of people believe that it takes years and years and years to do it. And to be quite frank, it does take, at minimum, I would say, if you have no family history that you can tap into, at minimum, roughly 5 years. However, here is my timeline for giving up US citizenship and how that will impact my goals and my travel, and additionally, how it'll impact me visiting my family. I believe that, first of all, qualifications should be that I have an EU passport with ESTA privileges, which is the US basis to essentially grant an ETA or what is called a visa waiver, which is essentially a glorified e-visa. This ETA will allow you to visit the United States without a visa, just a travel authorization, and it is renewable. Additionally, of course, you can get it, I think it's for 10 years. Essentially, what you're looking at is obtaining, for example, a Polish citizenship or Romanian citizenship, all of these different things to go to the United States. And then additionally, I'd like 3 other passports. For these, I won't disclose exactly which passports I am getting, but you could possibly look at Armenia, Paraguay, Ecuador, Panama, Mexico, places like this that are easy to get to, easy to get citizenship in, and easy build authority and build local connection. So after these 3 citizenships and my ESTA privileged passport, I will likely give up US citizenship. Now, what is the implication of giving up US citizenship? Well, of course, you lose all of your reporting requirements, you stop having to deal with the IRS, with some limited exception. Of course, if you have to deal with US persons, you still have to pay US taxes as what is deemed US source income. However, you will not have to file income taxes with the United States if you're not living. There's a common misconception that you will lose your ability to travel to the United States. While if it is strictly on a tax basis, they can deny you. There have been limited to no instances of this happening. And additionally, I do not plan to renounce on tax bases. I do not pay a lot of taxes on my income as I legally reduce them to near zero. However, it's with that I don't want to deal with US policies and politics, and I want my peace. I want to keep my peace. Growing and living with these things will inevitably make your life much easier. Furthering that point, another potential thing you may lose is any US institutions that do not want to work with non-Americans. So this can be places like credit unions, banks, credit card issuers. That's not truly that big of an issue. And the reason why it is not that big of an issue is there are thousands of banks that would work with US citizens or former US citizens with some level of ties to the United States. First of all, which if you have a childhood home, that's some level of ties to the United States, or if you have family there, or even with zero ties to the United States. American Express, for example, is a worldwide company. JP Morgan Chase is a worldwide company. And so it's with this that the services you are provided do not get canceled in entirety. Another thing that you gain, however, is the ability to be deemed a foreign investor in the United States, which does come with some perks. Now that I've gotten all of the cons and pros out of the way, let's go over the psychology surrounding it. Many people will have issue with getting through their parents and their siblings being outside of their quote unquote orbit. Right now, I'm used to it. I have lived abroad in Europe for the past 3 years, off and on, and it's through this that I have obviously not had much issue. My father is a CEO of a company, and so it's easier for him to come and visit. What I recommend to clients typically is to just book a ticket down to Mexico. Give your parents a week of vacation, give your partners or people a week of vacation because Mexico is an amazing country, absolutely gorgeous. People are so nice there, and I truly cannot praise it enough. And it has enough proximity to the United States. And if you wanted to drive from, let's say you're in Dallas, down to Mexico, you inherently can go down to Mexico and back up, even in a few days. Let's say you fly into Ciudad de Mexico and then you want your family come down. Let's say they're in Boston to DFW, rent a car, go down to the border, cross, go through all the way down to Ciudad de Mexico, go back up, cross the border again, fly back, and you're done. And this can be done at $5,000 maximum. Realistically, it'll probably be cheaper. And to be quite frank with you, if you were flying back to the United States, you'd pay double that with less flights, with less amenities, with a crappier hotel, because the average hotel in the United States is $138 a night. 138. That over 7 days is almost $900, or it may be $900. And so you're saving money by going to Mexico, and you're getting amazing food, amazing amenities, amazing culture, history. You're living life, and that's really what's important. Other thing that you can potentially look into is flying them over to where you are and having them live with you if you're truly that family oriented. Let's go over what renouncing US citizenship does for the totality of your life. Of course, you'll get rid of extensive reporting of FATCA, of financial institutions giving the IRS your data, and additionally, you having to report to the IRS. You gain simplicity in compliance, not only in the United States. Actually, fun fact, Americans have more compliance than non-Americans. But also you have places like FATCA and so forth that you cannot invest in certain things, you cannot open bank accounts in certain countries, as they do not want to deal with that. That all disappears overnight, and that's certainly freeing. However, I think the most important thing is the mentality shift. You are not seeing yourself as a part of the system that is taxing your wealth, that is dragging your name through the mud if you mess up, that is not supporting you. If I wanted a glorified military base as a country, yes, I'd keep, a citizenship. However, the militarization and the reckless tax spending of the United States has become inherently too much to bear. And this leads me to taking very drastic action in reducing my connection to the United States. Now, I will say that perhaps my plan is not what you want. And if you are looking for one-on-one consulting and you are looking for a consulting trial, then I am giving 15 minutes free, just a call. I need you to comment the word one, O-N-E, and I will get back to you about having a call for consulting. And then additionally, to sweeten the pot, you will get a recording of the call put directly into your email inbox. Now, the total amount of money that is necessary to renounce depends on how much you have in what is called mark-to-market assets. So this is excluding primary residence, excluding, I believe, $981,000, but basically there's an exemption of a certain amount that is exempted from taxation. However, if you are above the threshold of $2 million, you pay mark-to-market exit tax. If you additionally earned over 196,000 US dollars per year, then you are eligible for the exit tax if it was over the past 5 years. Additionally, on top of that, number 3 is you have not been up to date on your taxes for the past 5 years. If you have not been up to date on the taxes, you are automatically considered to be a covered expatriate. And so, obviously, that tells you keep your taxes up to date. Don't do anything illegal. Don't do anything stupid. Reduce assets under your name and pay yourself a small salary. If you can do those 4 things, you do not have to pay exit tax. Now, if you'd like help with doing these things, let me know, and I'd be happy to help you out. Moving forward, I believe that this trend of giving up US citizenship is only going to grow, which will only make the timeline increase. Sadly, the United States is very bureaucratic. It is impossible to get an embassy visit for a renunciation in many countries. Now, if you'd like a list of renunciation countries, I will actually do the research for you and put it up in this video on what the best places to renounce are and which take the least amount of time. Another thing that you have to realize is hiring renunciation lawyers is almost a necessity. And these typically cost in the realm of $5,000 to $10,000. That's not cheap, but additionally, I will say that you do not want to mess up a renunciation and have to pay exit tax, which could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over the long term, which could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over the long term. If you are looking for a good renunciation lawyer, I believe I will probably be doing a series in a few years. So if you're for some reason here in a few years, I would appreciate you staying that long. Of course, I value each and every one of you. However, if you're looking at sticking around, I will give you the step-by-step process of renouncing US citizenship. I don't believe it will be anytime soon, as I do not yet have another citizenship that is viable enough for me to feel comfortable giving up US citizenship. Another thing that I'd like to point out that many people miss is that in the United States, citizenship is considered to be like, oh, we're the best. In the rest of the world, most people nowadays will say that the US citizenship is a burden. The US citizenship is not something they want. You'll get in a lot of developing countries that they want to move to the US, but you'll notice they never say they want the American passport. And the reason why they say they never want the American passport because it is not that powerful. And the reason why is overregulation, lack of respect for other countries, misunderstandings, realistically. And so it's with this that the soft power of the United States is going down and your mobility is going down if you're American. I hope that this has informed you on the renunciation reasoning that I have as a global expat, and I'd appreciate if you did leaving a like, sharing, commenting, subscribing, and yeah, I wish you a good day. If you at all enjoyed, I appreciate you sticking around to the end. This has been the Traveling Report. Peace out, fellas.